Hi everyone, welcome to Red Fox Sewing and Crafting, and welcome to my craft room. I'm Joanna. So today we will be finishing our album here, and we are going to make these last 3 pages. This one I'm going to change a little bit so that it's easier to get stuff inside these pockets, because as you can see it is kind of hard to get to these pockets this way, even though this is a lay flat. So I'll be switching these. So we will need the page from last week that we didn't add into our album, and we also need to put together the last page. And I'm going to do that really quick here. And score tape to both sides. And then I'm going to take off side of one backing here, add my glue, and line up the edge of my paper with the edge of the tab, like this. And then just burnish. Now there is a way, if you're having difficulties doing this, there is a way to get it to work a little more in your favor. Just grab your scoreboard, put it to the edge of it, and then you can just shove the other part to the same edge and then carefully place it down so that they line up like that. For the pocket page, the double pocket page, you need 2 pieces that are 4.5 by 5.5. With the 5.5 at the top, you're going to score at half, and then flip it around so the 4.5 is at the top, and we're going to score at half and 4. And we're going to do this to both pieces. So 5.5 at the top, score at half, flip it around with the 4.5 at the top, score at half, and at 4. And now we are going to burnish these, fold and burnish. On all the score marks that we made. And then take your scissors, miter the top on the 1/2 inch tabs, and then cut out the bottom 2 squares. so that your pocket looks like this. Burnish, golden burnish, the score marks. And then cut top 2 corners and the bottom squares out. Then you have 2 pieces like this. I'm going to put some score tape on my edges. If you don't have score tape, you can just use glue if you want. Once you have your pockets prepped, you're going to grab this page with the tabs that we made previously. Flip it around so that the tabs are on your right. And then we're going to take one pocket and starting at the bottom, you'll want to put your glue, adhesive, whatever you're using on it, and then make sure that this is on the right side. And then we are going to put the bottom of the pocket against that edge, and the top edge is going to be flush with the top of the page. Then grab some tape, and we're just going to tape the bottom of the pocket down, just like so. Now we can put the sides down. Just gonna add a little bit of glue to my 2 tabs. And then carefully stick it down, making sure that the top pocket is completely flush with the top of the page. And when you have it down, you want the opening to be here, and when you turn it over, you have your tabs here. If you want, you can add a notch to your pocket so that you can see it. I might do that later. I might just add a little pull tab here. But that's how you make the page or the pocket. So we're going to do the same thing with the second pocket. So add your glue to the bottom tab like this, and I'm just folding all my tabs in to make it easier for me to line it up on my page. With this one, we are going to line up the bottom with this side of the page and the bottom of the page with the bottom side of the pocket, like this. And you should have about a 3/4 inch gap in between the pages. Going to take some tape to tape the bottom of our pocket, and then we can put our two sides down. Making sure that the bottom of the pocket is flush with the bottom of the page. There you go. Now I have two pockets here. Flip it around. I have my two tabs. Gonna set this aside. And now we are going to work on the next page. For this page, you will need a piece that is 3.5 by 4 3/4, and one that is 2 by 7 3/4. And we are only going to be scoring the 2 by 7 3/4 inch page. With the 2 inches at the top, you're just going to score at 1/2 inch. And that is all we're doing for this one. So I'm going to fold the score line, score mark, and burnish. And then I'm going to take my scissors and miter the two corners. Then we're just going to add some score tape on here, just like so. And I am going to add my pattern paper to just the front of this piece, so the same side as where I put my score tape on, so this side. Because we are going to be adding the other piece that we cut for this page on top of this one. We're going to glue on. So this piece needs to be prepped so that we can add it on and then add our magnet to it. So that's how we're going to close this page, or this flap. So now I have my flap prepped, and we're going to bring in our last blank page, and then this goes flush against one of the long sides. Just like this. I'm going to burnish it really good. Now I'm going to take the 3.5 by 4 3/4 inch piece, and I'm going to decide where I want to put it. Now, since I have lines on this paper, I think I'm just going to line it up with one of these. So then I just need to line it up on my scoreboard here and use my grid to kind of find where my center is and line it up. So once I figure out where I want this to go, the easiest way I found to do this is I'm going to take my thumb and my middle finger and put them on either side of my page where I want it to adhere to my flap, so the edge of it. And then I can pick it up very carefully since it's pretty big. And then this part above my fingers is where I'm going to put my glue. And this is a very easy way to figure out where you need to put your glue without marking or anything. And then I can take this, line up my page again, and then carefully put down my mat right back where I decided. And then I can just burnish this on my flap really well. And it's really stuck on there. No glue seeping out. So then we're going to take 2 magnets, and it's going to be easier to do the mat first. So just put one of your magnets where you want it to be on your mat, and then I'm going to use score tape here and then just stick it right on top of the magnet like that. And I'm going to grab another piece of score tape, and before I put my other piece on, I'm just going to check to make sure that I have the right orientation of my second magnet. And then I'm going to put my score tape sticky side up, place my second magnet on top, and then I can close my flap and very firm but carefully stick the score tape on my page. So it looks like this. So now you have a little flap with a mat that you can flip open to your page. The last page, we will need 1 5 by 2.5, 1 4.5 by 5, and 1 5 by 6.5. So get your scoreboard out one last time. With the 2.5 by 5, you want the 2.5 at the top. and we're going to score at half. The 4.5 by 5 with the 4.5 at the top, we're going to score at half. And lastly, with the 6.5 by 5 with a 6.5 at the top, we are going to score at half. And this will give us a quick and easy 3-tier waterfall. So, just going to burnish, fold and burnish our score marks that we just made. And then we are going to miter the 2 corners on each. Just like so. And again, I'm going to be putting score tape on all 3 of my pieces. And then burnish the tape really well so that it sticks. And then we're going to grab our page. So you'll want the flap to be on the right side, on this side, on the back. First one you want is the 6.5. And add your glue or whatever adhesive you're using to the top tab, and you are going to line it up to the top of the page. You want the score line that we made to be flush with the top of your page. We're just going to burnish this really good. So, flap here, and we have our 6.5 waterfall piece here. Next one is the 4.5 inch piece. And again, we are going to line this up to the top of the page, right on top of the 6.5 inch page, or flap. Just like so. All we're doing is stacking these waterfalls on top of each other. And then we have our 2.5 inch piece. Right on top of the 4.5. So then we have a nice little waterfall, just like that. And now I'm going to take a little bit of ribbon here. I'm gonna be cutting a little bit extra than I think I will need, just so that I have enough to actually close this. And I'm going to put one on the bottom of the page, in the middle, like this, going out from beneath. And I'm just going to take some score tape and place it on right like that. Then with the second piece of ribbon, I am going to actually take a ruler, because this part will be easier with a ruler. Just going to line it up here like this. I'll scoot it up a little bit more. And then I'm going to center it up on the 2.5 inch flat, on the outside of the 2.5 inch flat. And I'm making sure that it's going down. And then, again, I'm going to take a piece of score tape and put it right on top. So then you have your two ribbons like this, and once you have your paper on, you can just tie it together like this. Now we can add our last 2 pages in our album. So we're going to flip all the way to the back here. We're going to take this one and add your adhesive on your hinge, however you've been doing it the past few weeks. And you want this one with the 2 magnetic tabs towards the front. You want the 2 pockets going towards the back. So just sticking my hand in the pocket page, and then I'm going to slide my page right on top of my hinge and line it up exactly where I want it and stick it down. Flip it to the other side, check that's good, and stick it down. Grab the last page, and you'll want this side with the magnetic flap going towards the front. And add your adhesive to the last hinge. And again, find the center of the pocket page. This time you want to be careful with your ribbon to make sure that doesn't get caught in the hinge while you're putting it on. We are just going to put this page right on top of the hinge, lining up exactly where we want it. Stick it down, And then check the other side, making sure that the ribbon is out of the way. And stick it down. And now all of our pages are in our album. And here is the final result. I have added some ephemera pieces and some cut aparts to this. You can decorate it however you like, but this is the album. And in here I just made a couple tags to put in. And that is the 6-page album. I will leave a link below for the project I will be starting next week. I made a walkthrough of the Barn Doors album a few weeks back, and in that description will be all of the papers and decorative pieces that I will be using to decorate it on video at the end, if you would like to follow along with me in decorating it. So I hope you will join me next week as we start our new album. Bye!